Wildfire, you can't catch us now.
Pipe down, Ella. She's
Yep.
already starting off hot today.
Oh, yeah. She comes in. It's always good when your producer's yakking at everybody right out of the chute.
She's like, it's going to be a hot day today. I'm going to just make it extra spicy over here.
Yeah.
Play the music extra loud. Do whatever she really wants.
Yeah.
Welcome to the No Doubt About It podcast with Mark and Christy Ronchetti. We are back. We've taken the eldest off to college once again. Ava back at Liberty. Exhausting for the parents out there that take their kids to college. I'm not going to lie.
Gosh.
Not only is it emotional.
Right.
How many boxes and things do you think that you carried from, say, the storage unit that we got for her from last year,
right.
new Amazon boxes we had shipped out there, and then the actual delivery of those said boxes up into the seventh floor of her new dorm?
Yeah. The toughest part was the plastic, was it the plastic bins that she apparently had filled with bricks. And so I brought those up. And then, just to give you a quick idea, she decided that she was going to buy a suit of armor for Halloween to be Joan of Arc.
Yeah, last year.
And I have to tell you, that suit of armor must have been 50 pounds.
At least.
I mean,
I tried to lift it up, and I'm pretty strong, but I was like, there's no way.
Oh, it was unbelievably heavy. And it's classic Ava. Like, one of the maintenance guys at Liberty stopped us and was like, is that a suit of armor? We're like, yes, it is, sir. And so then we brought that thing up. And then we get everything from her storage unit up to the room.
Hey, don't forget the swords, too. She had
she had swords.
Yeah,
she has
to go
swords.
with the Joan of Arc.
It's classic Ava. And then we get everything up into the room from the storage unit. She's like, we just need to run over to the mail depot.
Center, yeah.
Yeah, and just get a few things. I got a few things from Amazon. 20 boxes later.
Yeah.
I was finishing the last of the 7 floors to get to the top. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
Here's what I'll tell you is compared to some of the moms and the other kids I've seen on like Instagram that are doing these like full.
Okay, that's not real.
It is real. I have friends that do it.
So don't give me the whole
wallpaper. They do like wallpaper
That's
and matching bed stands and mirrors, and they hang drapes and they do all this stuff. That is not what you had to deal with. So I just wanted to tell you that like Mark's like, we're going to be done with this in like 3 hours. He said this last year. I'm like, no, we'll be lucky if we're done with this in 3 days. So for the dads out there that are getting ready to take their kids off, prepare, like mentally prepare, because the moms and daughters have done a lot of planning, and all we really need you to do is show up with a positive attitude, lift every single box without hesitation, and put the furniture stuff that we need you to build, we need you to put it together.
Yeah.
And without complaint.
Yeah. Well,
and then
there were a few complaints.
Yeah. And I will say, there was a few complaints. That's an understatement. And let's just say, I feel like Ava did a good job of sticking to a budget. And I will just tell you, little smarty pants Ella over here is going to be a totally different ball game.
Okay, let's just touch grass and get some perspective, because this is ridiculous. Okay, there are real problems in the world, and gussying up your room and spending an ungodly amount of money to do it is ludicrous.
I know, Mark's
and I'm sorry, I don't care if it's on Instagram. Instagram isn't real. These people on Instagram, I'm gonna go on Instagram and try to show what a great mom I am. Oh, stop. Shut up. Go get your kid some books. Tell them to zip it and study. Nobody cares if they have a chartreuse blanket on their bed.
They do, though.
Or whether they have a footboard and a headboard. It's a dorm bed. It's garbage. You lay on that thing, you're like, my gosh, this is a step above prison. Stop acting like you're going to set them up with some incredible, beautiful personal space where they can decompress after the day. It's not about that. Go to school, get good grades, and major in something that can get you a job.
Yeah, that's
Stop
true.
being a downwardly mobile, educated person who'd rather turn to socialism. Sorry, I kind of lost it there. Just
See,
sorry.
Mark's had a lot of buildup over this week. So if you're a parent out there that has dealt with this recently, feel free and chime in on our comments, because I guarantee you, Mark is not alone with his frustration, and I am not the only mom mom out there that's been like, calm down. It's not that big of a deal. She did everything on a budget. She did a good job.
No, she's definitely not someone who's lost perspective. She is somebody who doesn't waste a lot of money.
She doesn't go crazy. But anyway.
No. Okay.
Anyway, let's move on. We got a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
College dorm move-in.
Yes. So we'll get to a bunch of things. We're going to start by talking about the open war going on in the Democratic Party is fascinating to watch. It's scary, and I just think I know it's easy as Republicans to look at this and be like, we want the crazy, socialists to be the nominee for all these offices. I don't want that because I think it's scary because I think a lot of times you be careful what you wish for because they end up winning. And that's a huge issue. So we're going to talk a little more about this. There's some delusional stuff going on that front, but it's amazing. We're going to talk about the economy. Look, the Trump administration can talk about how good the economy is, and they are, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you got to get prices down more. I mean, otherwise it's going to be a mess. So we're still talking about that, and we will. Our friend Vince Torres put out a really interesting Facebook post, and it talks about voter registration in the state of New Mexico, and changes continue on that front. Gabe Vasquez tried to make it look like he got an endorsement from the Fraternal Order of Police who hate him. So anyway, we'll talk about that. And then we will get to a couple of different things. One is the head of New Mexico Tax and Rev. She's come out weighing in on whether we should get rid of the state income tax. And surprise, surprise, she wants to hold that baby in place.
I'm sure she
does. So we'll talk about.
I'm shocked.
We'll talk about that. We've got one of the greatest mascots in the history of mascots in the state of New Mexico.
Okay.
And you need to get on board. And of course, we're fat on Sunday game day. Fat is in. We got fat bears on this thing, and it's pretty good. And then we'll actually look ahead to Wednesday's show when Jay McCluskey will be on the show, actually.
Oh.
Yes.
That's a news flash for me. You didn't tell me that.
He is. Jay is involved.
Are we sure? I mean, Jay's
I am sure. He'll be
positive.
here.
He's going to show up.
Yes, it'll be on Wednesday.
Okay.
Or Wednesday, maybe we may drop it early Thursday morning. But he's got a new project that he's going to bring to us, which is great stuff. We'll go through that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start with, I don't know, a very loud mouth in the Democratic Party,
right.
Bernie Sanders. And
yes.
Bernie seems to be, I don't even know, he gets asked a question and I don't even know where he's going with this, but it's like he's just trying to just keep throwing like Jello to the wall, see what sticks. I don't know. It's the most random answer I've ever watched him do.
Well, so he was on the Pod Save America, and they're always trying to rehab the Democratic brand. These are Obama's guys, right? Okay, so they're slick in the respect that they're always trying to remake the image to keep their party on the rails, which is becoming increasingly difficult, right? Yeah. So they get Bernie on, and Bernie's the guy who basically, he's the arsonist who comes in, lights the house on fire, and is like, I don't understand what all the smoke is from. You know, he's looking around, he's like, I don't know why this is happening. Nobody really wants to abolish the police. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, Bernie, these are your people.
Right.
Like, you introduced all this madness into our politics in many ways, and then you're like, when it gets taken further than you wanted it to be taken, you're kind of like, no one's doing that. And so he's just delusional here. He's asked basically, hey, look, what do you think of these socialist candidates who want to, abolish the police, get rid of prisons, end the border system so that there are no borders? Like, Bernie, what about this? And Bernie's like, I don't know. Bro, I don't know what you're talking about.
No serious person that I know who is running for office believes in, quote unquote, defunding the police. I was a mayor for 8 years. I worked very closely with cops. They have a very difficult job. Do we need police reform? Do we need to get rid of racism within police departments? Absolutely. Are there jobs that other people can be doing in terms of mental health, drug addiction that now falls on a cop's shoulders? Yeah, I think we should look at that. But nobody I know, believes in defunding the police in terms of doing away with prisons. I hope the day comes. When we don't lead the world in the number of people who are incarcerated. That speaks very poorly of our society. Yeah. But does that mean that there should not be dangerous people who should be behind bars? Of course, everybody agrees with that. Open borders, no. Most of us believe in comprehensive immigration reform, not opening up all the borders. But a lot of this stuff, as you well know, is what the right wing plays on and multiplies on Fox, 10 times a day and through their ads. But most of the serious candidates that I know and support do not support those things.
Okay. So he blames Republicans. It's Republicans' fault.
Oh, of course it
Republicans pounce, and the Republicans are making more of this than it really is.
I'm sorry, really quick comment on old Bernie. Does he just not remind you of Larry David? And who's going to play Bernie Sanders in a movie? It's going to be Larry David, right?
Yeah, if there ever was. Yeah, but Larry is his age. So that's Larry'd have to be him at the tail end. You know what I mean? Like, hey, he's on his deathbed, and then you got Larry there. You know, like there's only one way to do that.
And who's going to go see a Bernie Sanders movie? Not me, but I'm just I watch him, and I'm like, it's a blend between him and Larry David every time I watch.
It's wild. I'll tell you. The town I grew up in, he was the mayor.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was wild because I remember him back in 1984.
Okay.
Winning the mayoralty of the mayoralship, I guess, of Burlington, Vermont. And he was wild then. He's a survivor. And I will give him credit in that he's kind of sort of stayed in that same crazy lane the whole time.
Yeah, but now he's trying to dig the party out somehow. He's trying to make it sound
to be honest,
he's trying to do revision of history, and I'm just like, oh, really? There's no Democrats that have been supporting defund the police.
Oh no, he's totally lying on that.
Okay.
But I will say he had the Democratic nomination for president stolen from him twice. He really did. And so you could make the case in 2016 he was going to be the nominee. He should have been the nominee.
Does he
Hillary
beat Trump?
Clinton. Oh no, I don't know if he beats Trump or if he doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have any. That's a great question.
I asked good questions, Mark.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us.
No, and so you're welcome. And then 2020, same thing. He had it stolen by Biden. Realistically, especially Hillary in 16, the whole Democratic establishment ripped it off from him. So had that not happened, there's a real possibility that the real kind of socialism thing would have been litigated more, I guess, legitimately and in a more healthy way in the Democratic Party than it is right now. Right? Because a lot of them feel like it was taken from us. They don't trust the system and they are tearing it down.
Okay, so do you think Bernie's in line with all, Mamdani, for instance, and the rest of the...
He supported Mamdani.
Yeah. And so it's good. And I'm pretty sure that Mamdani is not a big, let's keep giving all the money to the cops. I don't know. I didn't get that impression on that guy.
These guys all play their little games, right?
I feel like that's what they do.
Yeah.
They'll say one thing to get elected, then they change their minds and they realize, hey, wait a minute, we can't actually do all these things for free that we talked about originally.
Well, Mamdani's trying. I mean, the grocery store thing continues unabated. We'll see what happens to that. But it is interesting. And so we decided, he talks about this stuff. Well, there's no serious candidate that's doing that. Okay. Well, the likely Democratic nominee for governor in the state of Wisconsin talks about all these things and has that. Now, she's trying to run from it now. But here's what she said on X. And here's just a few of them here, starting on October 8th, 2021.
And this is Francesca Hong.
Yes, this is Francesca Hong. Absolutely.
Okay. So in 2021, she says, police exist to uphold white supremacy. Defund, then abolish. Reform can't be an option.
There we go.
That was fresh.
Yep.
Here's another one. I support defunding the police as a first step towards abolishing the police.
Yeah.
My personal favorite, cancel Thanksgiving. This just should have been done in 1621. That's a sweet person to get behind very American.
It's unbelievable.
Very American.
Yeah.
Then she goes on to say, too many old white people who didn't think we spoke English.
Yeah, she was talking about a restaurant that they were at and it just defames white people. Okay.
I miss working in a restaurant every day except on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, she hates and wants to get rid of Valentine's Day, which I actually may support her on that.
Yeah, we're not huge Valentine's people either,
but maybe you shouldn't cancel it, but hey.
And then here's one, OMFG, abolish ICE.
Yeah. So this is one of those people that is off the rails, right?
Right.
And we're going to talk about another one that's off the rails as well here in a second because of his support of, I think, dangerous terrorists. Okay, I can't believe we're having that discussion either, but we are. But so what we mentioned this to you for, and the reason we start with this is because you have the old guard in the Democratic Party, and Bernie's part of that old guard that opened the door for these people. Then there's part of the old guard that didn't really open the door to these people, but doesn't seem to understand the threat. And Donna Brazile is a great example of that. So she on Sunday was on This Week, ABC's morning show. Okay. And she decided to try to basically draw an equivalence between the Tea Party in 2010 and what's happening now with the DSA folks trying to destroy the Democratic Party. Now, as someone who's been in the middle of the whole Tea Party thing, even when we ran, they were still a force and people. The Tea Party is just completely not able to be compared. And what this shows you is that Donna Brazile is wanting so badly to take the destruction of her own party and explain it away as no big deal.
Right. Try to normalize it.
But as you know, I've been in this big tent party probably longer than most people. And I can tell you, we're having the same kind of growing pains I saw on the Republican side, whether it was through the Tea Party in 2010, the activists who helped to bring about the MAGA movement.
And with all due respect to my friend Donna, there's nothing like, you can't draw any equivalence between the Tea Party movement and the socialists. For one, the Tea Party folks weren't trying to bring about the downfall of Western civilization and the United States of America. Abolish the police, abolish ICE, abolish borders, abolish the Senate, abolish the Constitution. There was nothing like this in the Republican Party. So it's an extreme political ideology that is gaining traction. The Democrat leadership has lost control. They know it. And people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Hong in Wisconsin, Abdul El Sayed in Michigan. You talk about the big tent. The Democrat Jewish Attorney General of Michigan cannot even go to her party's nominating convention because she says, I won't be safe there because of the supporters of Abdul El Sayed. You can't draw any equivalence between what happened in the Republican Party with the resurgence of patriot conservatives versus these anti-American radicals.
Okay, just destroys her. Okay, and he's exactly right. I mean, you're talking about the difference between people who wanted to return to fiscal sanity and had had enough of this, and what's happening now. And look, we don't need to defend anybody from the Tea Party and what Republicans did. There are certain machinations that different political parties go through. Absolutely, no question, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. But when you take the really explicit effort by the DSA to destroy the Democratic Party, and you've got some of the old school Democrats saying, well, you know, we're a big tent party. Oh, okay. You're a big tent party, and then you're just going to watch your party get destroyed by candidates that are terrible. Now, Republicans have matched that before, especially around 2010. Republicans ran about 4 or 5 Senate candidates that stunk out loud, right? I mean, they were bad candidates, okay? Because they were outside the mainstream of what people wanted. They said some crazy things, and they got whacked. Now, will that happen again? I hope so. But one of the big races we're talking about here, and the problem is, it's one thing to say kind of crazy, kooky stuff, and to be like, oh, okay, all right, crazy bird. You know what I mean? And it's another to have someone like Abdul El Sayed, who is now barely became the Democratic nominee for Senate in Michigan. Okay, Michigan, the ultimate swing state, right? Michigan has been within a point of the presidential race 4 different times in the past 16 years, right? It's a super close state. It really is. It's close every time. And whoever wins it wins the presidency. Trump won it in 2024, won the presidency. Lost it in 2020, lost the presidency. Won it in 16, won the presidency, right? So this is a state that is really close. Okay, so this is one of those states where you can't afford to have somebody who is outside the mainstream. Now, the problem is, I think what's scary about where we are right now is you're not kooky and weird as a candidate. You're dangerous, and you support people, especially people like Hassan Piker, who come to support you, who said we deserve 9/11. He said it. Okay, and this guy stands right next to him. You've got El Sayed, who has been reticent to go after the leader of Iran when he was killed and say, this is a good thing that this guy no longer gets to terrorize his own country and kill tens of thousands of his own people. He wouldn't say any of those things. He doesn't believe Israel has the right to exist. I mean, now we're talking about serious anti-Semitism and stuff that can lead to really dangerous situations. And you heard Scott mention it. You have a Jewish AG in the state of Michigan who can't go to her own convention. This is terrifying stuff. And with him, it's a mess. So, and I think it's one of those things that I think to me is pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at recent polling that was done on CNN that really shows kind of like, where does this all land now? Because this race was so close. Is this good news for Democrats or is it not?
Once El Sayed became the favorite for that nomination, and now that he's actually become the nominee, Democratic chances have fallen dramatically. You can see it right here. Cast your prediction odds. Take a look here. Chance to win the Michigan Senate race. You go back to April at this point in the month. Dems had a 79% chance. Look how that number has fallen dramatically. Down we go into Lake Michigan. Now we're talking about just a 59% chance, while Mike Rogers, the Republican nominee, look at this, 21% chance, basically doubling, now up to a 41% chance. So the people who are putting their money where their mouths are quite skeptical at this point, or at least significantly more skeptical, that Democrats will be able to hold on to the Michigan Senate seat with El-Sayed as the nominee, though I still should note he is the slight favorite here. But given Michigan being a purple state and given where Trump's approval rating is, I think it's quite surprising that his numbers are not significantly higher.
Okay, so that's a problem, obviously, because he's an extremist. Okay, so immediately the difference between a primary and a general election becomes very obvious right there, right? It's always where you say, well, who's going to do the pivot and whatever. And there's no doubt. The way primaries work is you talk to the people on your own side at the beginning. You tend to move to the left or to the right, depending on the primary that you're in, and then you try to pivot. But a guy like El-Sayed, that will be much more difficult to do. And the problem that I think the Democrats have, and they're still going to have with this guy, El-Sayed is not appealing to working class voters. Okay, first of all, he's not a working class guy, really. Okay, he talks this game where he says, "Oh, I'm going to appeal to working class people," but who's really voting for guys like this? In the Democratic Party, it tends to be the highly educated, downwardly mobile people who look around and say, "The promises that were made to me have been broken by everybody." And what do I mean by downwardly mobile? I mean the person who went to, let's take Michigan as an example, the person who went to the University of Michigan, at one of the best state schools in the country, highly educated. They major in art history, and they graduate, and there's no job, there's no nothing, and let's say they did it from out of state and then decide to live in Michigan, they owe $175,000. They're paying $1,500 a month in student loans. They're paying $1,500 to $2,000 a month in rent, and they've got a job they think is beneath them that's barely able to pay their bills. That's their voter. That's the highly educated, downwardly mobile, because they don't have great jobs. Now, some of them are rich white people too. That happens too. But that's the kind of person that he attracts. And you start looking at the numbers behind the votes he's getting, and that's exactly what it shows.
Democrats have been hemorrhaging working class voters, voters without a college education. El-Sayed comes in, the great promise of him, some populist message, I can connect with those voters. Well, in the primary, it didn't happen. Take a look here. Okay, counties El-Sayed won in the primary. 0 of 15. 0 of 15 with the lowest share of college degrees. Ergo, he did not win in those working class areas. Where he did win, he won 13 of the 15 counties with the highest share of college degrees. So you're thinking about Democrats having real trouble amongst the working class. El-Sayed came dramatically from those areas, in fact, not where there is working class folks, but where there are highly educated folks, more from elite circles than from the working class circles. And I think there's real worries among Democrats. Will that transfer over to the general election and El-Sayed continue to have the problems that prior Democrats have had with the working class?
You think that's not the only worry the Democrats should have here?
No, it's not the only worry, because, I mean, the polling estimated El-Sayed's primary margin by about 10 points. And I think there's a real question, will that happen in the general election again? Because the general election polling is quite tight. And what we know in Michigan is the candidate of the college degrees tend to be overestimated. Will that happen with El-Sayed? Maybe, but I think it's just another worry in why this race has closed dramatically.
Okay, so let's just to be clear on that, what he's saying is leading into election day, most polls showed El-Sayed up by 10. He won by 1. Okay, he won by 1. So, yeah, there is this gap where as you tend to get into general elections with these guys, they collapse down a little more than you think they're going to. And just think of a state where you got more working class people that have good jobs, right? Auto industry is a great example in Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. You got good jobs, but you bust your butt every day. You go out and work for what you have. And you make a nice living, but you get that living because you spend time working for it. You know, and so that's why it's going to be really interesting to watch and to see what happens with this. I think it's a 50-50 coin flip with Mike Rogers and Abdul El-Sayed. I think he'll lose. I think El-Sayed will lose. I hope so. I think it'd be terrible for the country if he won. I think he's an anti-Semite. I think he's an extremist, and I think he's supported dangerous people. And I think if you welcome someone like that in the United States Senate, good things won't happen. But we'll see what happens with him.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I guess the argument there is, and what we were talking about before we started the show is, my argument is, well, we all thought Mamdani, there's no way that he would win, and then he does in New York City. You're saying, hey, the voter base in New York City is very different than the people that will be voting in this particular election.
No question. I mean, think about the results. New York City is a Dem plus 35. Electorate.
Right.
It's an extremely liberal electorate. It's not even close. Michigan is basically a coin flip electorate every time. I'd say Michigan trends a little more blue than it does red, but a good Republican candidate or in an environment that is solid for Republicans, they win. They win in Michigan. We've seen Trump win twice in Michigan. Right. So this is absolutely a totally different electorate. It's a working class electorate and really the upper Midwest in general, the Ohios of the world, the Michigans of the world, the Pennsylvanias of the world. Those places are trending more Republican. They just are, because they're working class people who say, look, I'll go pay my taxes. I'll do my thing. I'll work hard, but I want a fair shake. And they don't want to tear the country down. They're not sitting there going, I want a whole new country. I want to abolish the Supreme Court. Like nobody wants to do that. No normal working class person does. They've done well enough that they're like, the American dream works, but we've got to fix some stuff with it. And we've got to fine tune it to get it to the point where working families can afford to buy a home. Things like that. It isn't, hey, I want to tear everything to the studs and rebuild it.
Right. Okay. Well, another story that was really making headlines this past weekend is talking about the job loss of 23,000 jobs in the month of July. I mean, I'm seeing that everywhere, right? It's splashed about in all the major media stuff. Here's the issue that I have with that, and it's why I wanted to talk about this just real briefly, because I was like, I wonder how this compares to other months or other years or other time frames. And what was interesting to me is this, once again, is just part of the story, right?
Yeah.
But it's eye-catching, it's grabbing, it makes the Trump administration look at fault somehow because we're losing jobs. This is really bad, this is bad. The overall big picture, jobs remain near record highs in this year alone, okay? So that's something to keep in mind. This is 1 month. This is a 1 month capture from June to July. So I looked at it. I was like, okay, why do we think we're losing the jobs? Like, what is this job loss from? Since it's not as big of a deal, but they're going to make it into one, right? There's actually some interesting deeper dives into this. And Kevin Hassett, he's the director of the National Economic Council. He was on CNN and he's explaining like, hey, let's slow the roll on this headline and let's tell you why these job losses are actually happening.
Ron, we sort of dug in and we saw that the two things that made it negative, one of them was a reduction in government workers, and it was mostly teachers at states, taking July off. And the other thing was that the FIFA ended, and so that we had a whole bunch of hospitality workers, file for unemployment in July. And so anyway, so you take those two out and you get back to what the consensus number was, about 100,000 job creation. And the point is, if that were in isolation, I wouldn't be caring about like throwing this or that on the side because it's a special story. But the fact is, everything else is so strong that I think that it makes sense that the consensus was about right.
Okay, so I made this little graphic again just so we can actually be really clear, because when you see this headline, it's like, we're down. We've lost 23,000 jobs, everybody. Well, take a look again what he's saying. First, it's government employment declined from DOGE. They've made some cuts, right? So they've cut some of that. That's one thing he mentioned,
right.
Which he's not mentioning on that CNN, but I actually read his story. And
the total number of government employees has been cut to one of its lowest levels in a couple decades. Yeah.
Right. Number two, there was winter snow that caused the teachers' breaks to be pushed to July. So it impacted
snow days.
Yeah, it impacted when they're actually taking their pay. Okay. So right now in July, they're not taking as much pay. And then number three, with the World Cup ending, that affected a lot of hospitality workers. Yeah. And so they filed unemployment for the month of July. So again, I guess I just want people to be aware that when you see these big flashy, splashy headlines where it's like, oh, these job things, go deeper. Ask the question, I think, of saying, how is this? How does this compare to other months, other years? Are we really seeing a major decline? And actually, Mark, we have an increase in job growth over 2025 so far in 2026. And I think that's interesting for people to know.
I do. So it's interesting. I agree. It's interesting. But and I'm with you. But the problem is if you're explaining, you're losing. So most people right now, I think, feel like the economy is still pretty rough. because the bottom line is you go to buy food, you go to buy groceries, go to buy gasoline, and you just go, my gosh, I'm getting destroyed here.
I agree. I can understand that too.
And so that's my thing for the administration is that, you still have these problems in Iran, right? We go back in, they're bombing Iran, and we think Iran's going to come to the table. They don't again.
Shocker.
I know. It's like Lucy.
Who thinks that they don't, they're going to ever come to the table?
Trump, clearly, it's happened.
Should I give Trump a call and tell him these guys don't negotiate for the 100th time?
Well,
honestly.
no, I agree with you, but this is a problem because I think if you cannot bring down energy prices more significantly than you are, I think you can tout all these numbers as long as you would like, but people don't feel that. They feel like, my gosh, I go out to dinner with my family of 4 and I'll be dang if it isn't $125. And you're going, man, alive, it used to be 75 or whatever. This is tough stuff. I
agree. But I think the complaint I have is that I remember when you were running and the grocery prices were going up, gas prices were going up, and people kept defending Biden and kept saying to people, that's not true. We're fine. We're fine. The economy is fine. The economy's fine. And we were like, wait a minute. No, it's not. And so absolutely, I think that this administration should be.
Then Biden lost. I mean, well,
I agree.
Effectively, he did.
I agree.
So,
I don't think he lost because of the economy. I think he lost because of that debate, and he looked incompetent.
Well, but I mean, he had to drop out because of the debate. But forget that. There's a reason that Kamala Harris didn't win. She did. If the economy had been in good shape, Kamala Harris would have won.
Yeah,
she would have taken over for Biden. She would have won. It wasn't in good shape. It didn't work. All their garbage with the media not talking about inflation and acting like it wasn't happening was devastating to him because everybody knew it. And it doesn't matter if the CBS Evening News doesn't talk about it. You know it when you look at your account. You know it when interest rates go from 3% to 7% to control it. I just think that was one of those things that's a nightmare. And I see this administration sort of saying, no, but trust me, it's really good. No, don't worry about how you feel about it. Trust me. Look at this chart. Look at this chart I got here. Yeah. And you're like, that chart doesn't show my bank account, which is getting killed.
Okay, I agree with you 100%. What I'm saying, though, is that the media during the Biden administration wouldn't even touch the job loss or the job growth or anything that was in the negative, right? They very rarely touched on it. Now they pull out a headline of 23,000 jobs in July, and it's the leading story for the whole weekend.
Right.
When that's actually just a small sliver. That's my point, I still want to see full coverage on stories where people actually understand it. So they're not like, well, Trump really sucks at this. We lost 23,000 jobs. I mean, we're really in the tank now.
Look, I'm not saying it's fair.
When our numbers are actually increasing for jobs. So that's all I'm saying. Is I just want fair coverage.
No, agreed.
It's not going to happen.
You're
I know.
absolutely right. The coverage is not fair. There's no question about that. But guess what? Welcome to being a Republican with a media that slants far left. Okay. All right. So
some good news though here in New Mexico.
Well, it's interesting. So our friend Vince Torres, who's great. And we've had him on the show. We got to have him come. We got to get him back in here.
I know. Well, he's busy.
Yeah, I know.
He's a pastor.
I know. He's
doing a lot of things.
He's up in Santa Fe. He's doing his thing. But he sent me an interesting little piece of data, and so we pulled it into a graph. It's the New Mexico Democratic registration for the Democratic Party and what's been happening. So it's interesting because if you go back into the 90s, which Vince will mention here, Christy will read his post here in a second, but roughly, he used to have 60% of the state were registered Democrats, okay? Mm-hmm. And that number now has plummeted down to 39.8%. You compare that to Republicans, which are at 30.8%. That's now just a 9-point advantage for Democrats. When we ran, it was a 15-point advantage for Democrats in 2022. Mm-hmm. They walk into every election with 15% more voters than you do. And you're like, man, we gotta win.
Such an uphill
yes, not impossible, but tough, right? Yeah. It's really tough. And so you look now and you say you're down to 9. That is encouraging, and Vince's take on it was interesting too. He did a little Facebook post on it.
He says, it's official, New Mexico Democratic Party registration has dipped below 40% for what I believe is the first time in my lifetime. For context, Democrats made up almost 60% of New Mexico registered voters in 1990, the earliest registration report I could find. Last month, that number fell to 39.8%. New Mexico's electorate looks very different than it did a generation ago. However, that shift has yet to translate into a meaningful change in political leadership. Democrats continue to control the governor's office, both chambers of the legislature, and every statewide elected office. The question is, when will the changing electorate begin to change who governs the state? And that's the question that everybody is asking.
Yeah, and part
is this
of
the time? Is the midterm when we will see some of this shifting of the guards?
I doubt, again, as we've tirelessly said on this show, I doubt it in a Republican midterm with a Republican president, meaning that's really hard to believe that would happen. However, one thing I'm worried about a little bit with these numbers is that a couple things. I think more and more people are saying they're independent when they're not.
Right.
Okay. So in other words, they're lefties. They're just saying that they're independents. Okay.
Why would they do that? Let's talk that through really fast.
Because I think the Democratic brand is in the toilet.
Right.
Like there's no question. It's underwater by 25 points. So it's like saying you want your favorite team to be the New York Jets.
Wait, it's like saying you're a Cowboys fan?
No. It's like saying your favorite team's the New York Jets, right? You're like, hi, how you doing? We stink out loud, like terribly, right? And so you're like, nah, I'm not, but you kind of are.
Yeah.
You kind of are a Jets, but you're like, I'm from New York and everything else, but I'm not going to say I'm a Jets fan until they're good. Like I'm a Yankees fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so there's some of that front runner mentality. I also think there are a lot of old school Democrats that are no longer Democrats. You see it a ton in northern New Mexico,
right?
Where we would go meet with people in Espanola and Mora and in Chama, and they said, I'm a registered Democrat, but I'm voting for you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of those people have now gone over either to the Republican Party or independents. So you're boiling off some of the people that weren't really Democrats, but they had been when the Democratic Party was John F. Kennedy's party, not when they were Zoran Mondani's party, right?
Right.
So
I think that is the shift.
There's some of that.
I remember the Democrats for Ronchetti. I mean, you had a whole group of people that were the Democrats for Ronchetti.
You do, yeah. And obviously, like the gap in this state, to me, if you're running a really strong race, and you can get this thing done. Now, if you're running a really strong race in the right environment, you can win. I still definitely believe that. But if you run a really strong race and the environment shifts on you a bit and it doesn't work out, I think the gap in this state's 5-6 points. If you're running a really good race with a good candidate, I think that's where you are right now. Now, if the environment shifts in your direction, then you win, right? But if it stays sort of against you and the tides are a little against you, then you end up dropping it. Now, if you don't run a great race or you're not a great candidate, I think you get whacked by 10 to 12 points in the state still.
Wow. Okay, well, we'll keep our eyes on that.
Yeah, it was really interesting, though. Vince is a super smart guy. So when he sent this over, I was like, man, that's really interesting.
Yeah, we got to look at that. Well, one of the other race, CD2, that we keep our eyes on, Greg Cunningham is running in that district. But guess who's in some hot water right now? It is the current rep in CD2. That is the very famous Gabe Vasquez.
The legendary Gabe. He's a legendary police guy. He's the guy.
Yes,
now, a lot of people say, wait a minute, didn't I see him wearing a mask screaming about police before he got elected? And yes, indeed.
Yeah.
He was that guy.
Yeah.
Yes. But turns out he sent out a mailer where he sort of tried to make it look like he had been supported by the Fraternal Order of Police, which is not true. I mean, this couldn't be more untrue.
So, yeah, here's the headline. Fraternal Order of Police slams vulnerable House Democrat for using logo in constituent mail. The New Mexico Fraternal Order of Police slammed Rep. Gabe Vasquez in a letter that he used a mailer to tout its endorsement of legislation he introduced, despite the organization's endorsement of his Republican challenger. Again, that's Greg Cunningham. Vasquez,
who was actually a cop too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what, Gabe? I mean, what team told him to do this?
Right,
by the way,
right?
They should be fired. Vasquez, who was in a tough re-election battle, recently sent out a franked mailer, which is taxpayer funded, touting the FOP's support of legislation he introduced. The mail included the FOP logo next to a description of the legislation, but the group promptly denounced Vasquez's use of the logo, according to materials obtained by the Washington Examiner, and that's where the story is from.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a classic example of somebody who is running in a general election trying to pivot. And I think Vasquez it's going to be a really interesting race down the stretch. There's no doubt. And so, you got this mailer and you can see, I mean, we just kind of did a little graphic on the mailer. And I think the thing is what he's trying to do here is basically make people who don't take a real close look at it say, oh, the police like what Gabe's doing. And then they move on or whatever, right? When the Fraternal Order of Police, who are, it's a great organization with great people, of course they're going to support Greg Cunningham. He's a cop. He's for law and order. He's the perfect candidate. He's the perfect FOP candidate.
Right.
Like, and so for Gabe to do this, he's trying to what we call fog it up. Okay, and what you mean by fog it up is in a campaign, what you try to do is you try to do something like, hey, the police like me kind of thing, to be able to say, don't look over there where the Fraternal Order of Police are burning my likeness and, in some effigy, lighting it on fire. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about these things. They like me, and they don't like Greg Cunningham when clearly they do. So
Right.
we try to fog it up so people say, well, wait a minute. Do the cops like Gabe? Do they not like? You want it to be, you just want to create confusion. That's
Right.
the idea, and that was the idea behind this for Gabe.
Okay. So I guess people don't spend that much time reading over the mailer. Maybe that was his hope, right? Because you get the mail, you get a ton of mailers, right? And you're like, you kind of look through it and he's hoping that people won't give it a second of thought. They'll just look at the headline and be like, oh yeah, he's good. He's good with the cops. So
Yeah, cops like him.
Cops like him, so
Cops
I like him.
when he's not,
Yeah, not
when
great.
he's not screaming
Read
at
the
him.
mailers.
Yeah.
Read them into, okay.
Well, yeah, and sometimes you read the mailers and they're also incredibly deceptive.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
Be careful what you read, I guess.
Yeah.
Good news for Kim Kardashian, everybody.
I know. This is
Ava's
good
one
news.
of Ella's personal heroes, Kim Kardashian. Woman did not pass the bar. No offense towards that, because I couldn't pass the bar. I'm quite certain.
Well, you haven't been to law school yet either.
Well, this is true.
Yeah,
This
so I'm
is
going to
true.
give you a little tip of the cap there.
Okay, yeah.
I'm willing to bet that if you went to law
I'm a communications
school,
major, so yeah, I should not be taking the bar. But good news in New Mexico, I don't even know if I have to anymore, Mark. I mean,
You don't have
that's
to.
the best news I've ever heard, right? Let's get some more attorneys in the state, because that's what we need.
Well,
and
no,
we
so-
want to make sure those attorneys don't have to pass the bar.
well, this is
people.
unbelievable. So, New Mexico law graduates can become attorneys without passing the bar exam. Now, by the way, I didn't realize this. So, I read this article. I think it's from the Journal, and we'll just read the beginning of this for you, and then we'll talk about it. But I didn't realize there is a shortage of attorneys now. Not in Albuquerque. Let me promise you that. Like, you go watch. It's amazing.
You know why, Mark? Because they're all working. They're all state reps right now. They're all really tied up down
They
in Santa
probably
Fe.
are, and it is.
So we have a shortage, people. We actually have to get the attorneys back in the office.
It's one of the transitions I noticed on TV in the past 7 or 8 years. It used to be all car ads. Like we'd go to break at KRQE and it'd be car ad after car ad.
Right.
Okay. What started to happen about 3 or 4 years ago is it's attorney ad after attorney ad. They're more important than the car ad. Now, I haven't spoken to like salespeople and at TV stations about this, but I'm willing to bet the percentage of dollars that come from attorneys is gotta be, pushing where the amount of money from car dealerships comes from. Because you just look at it now and you see, all these attorneys, the husband and wife attorney team, Glasheen, Baez, and Linderman, or whatever they're called. What's his name? Little Ronnie Bell. He's all over the place, right? You got the other guy, Ron White, or whatever his name is, White. He's no longer actually alive, but his
firm is.
But his firm is, right? You see these guys everywhere, man.
Right.
You've got all these guys. And so the deal with the thing is this. We don't even need to read the article. It is, you can now, instead of taking the bar, you can work under another attorney. And I think you have to work for something like 675 hours in a year.
Right.
Okay. And then you can practice law yourself.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
675 hours and 12 months of apprenticing under an attorney.
Yes.
I wonder if that's what we're going to start doing for doctors, Mark. Like maybe you don't have to, just take the
it's a
medical.
good-
You don't need a medical license. You can just go and shadow a doctor.
Yeah.
For
I could
675
see that
hours.
working out.
Maybe
I
could
stayed
be
at a Holiday
doctor.
Inn last night, so I can do this. Is that what we're going to do next? All you have to do is stay at a Holiday Inn, and you can be a lawyer in
I
this
don't
state.
even understand this law. Like, how did they make this okay?
Well,
I don't understand this at all.
So-
and who hires an attorney that didn't pass the bar?
Well, you don't know.
Oh,
right?
they're not going to tell you that?
Well, no, you would never know unless you sat there and
great.
said, hey, by the way, did you pass the bar?
And how much? Okay, I'm sorry. If I'm an attorney in New Mexico, does that make me happy? Or are you like, listen, I passed the bar.
Yeah.
I did the heavy lifting.
Right.
I'm the one that did the job. You too, my friend, have to do the same thing.
Yeah,
Like
that's a good question.
I don't have any attorney friends to get on the phone and hammer that out with, but I would think that would be frustrating.
Yeah.
Let's just keep lowering. Let's lower the requirements. Let's lower the requirements for high school graduation here. Let's
No,
lower
that's
the
right. No,
requirements
it's
for to be an
literally-
attorney here.
it's-
what else can we lower the requirements?
This is
on?
lowering the bar,
Yeah,
literally.
literally.
It just, by the way, just a quick quote from the New Mexico Supreme Court Chief Justice, Julie Vargas, she said the new method of licensure will ensure new attorneys possess the practical on-the-job lawyering skills needed to help New Mexicans. Okay. Well, we'll see, I guess. But I didn't realize there's a huge shortage of lawyers, especially in rural New Mexico. That would make some sense to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like you live in.
Okay, then we should offer them some help in paying off their law school bill instead of like what we were talking about.
Whoa. I don't think we need to be paying off their law school bill. Let's not be doing this.
Well, I'm just saying, instead of removing the actual proof that they know what they're doing
just telling
and they paid attention in class.
I'm just telling you there is an issue there.
AI to write all their papers. We're just going to be like, nope, now you just follow this attorney around for 675 hours.
Yeah.
And you got it. You're good.
We've got
Maybe I'm going to go to law school online. I'm just going to become an attorney overnight. How about that?
It's the last thing the legal system needs.
It's me.
Okay.
Yes. No.
All right.
Okay. So you're going to be shocked by this one, everybody. This is going to come as quite a surprise. There's people that are against not allow, like we talked about, like we should get rid of the state income tax. Not everybody agrees with this. And I know that's going to shock you. This is the headline in the paper. What repealing the income tax would cost New Mexicans. Let's talk about this, Mark.
Well, you need to know who wrote it, too, which is Stephanie Clark, who is the head of the state's
tax and revenue,
I think. Hold on, let me see here. She is, she's actually the cabinet secretary for tax and rev. Okay. So she's the one who's like, wait a minute, we're not doing this, sir. So here's what she said, and we'll react to it after you read the first couple paragraphs.
If the personal income tax gets scrapped, the lowest earning 54% of taxpayers, well over 500,000 filers, would see average tax relief of just $122 per year. The top earning 16% would receive $8,000 per year. And the top 5%, just 57,000 taxpayers, would clear more than $13,000 per year. This is a wealth transfer to the top of the income scale paid for by the New Mexicans at the bottom.
Okay, so hold on. That is a can you put that back up, please? This is a ludicrous line. This is a wealth transfer. A wealth transfer. It is your money. It is not the government's money. So I'm so sorry, Stephanie, but this is a ludicrous line. It's a wealth transfer from the top of the income scale paid for by New Mexico. No, it's not. The money that goes from the state income tax, the vast majority is paid for by people at the top of the income scale. So if you view the income tax as a tool to punish people, which Stephanie clearly does, and when she says this, it's calling it a wealth transfer is ludicrous. It's not your money, Stephanie. The people earn it in the state of New Mexico. Every individual taxpayer earns it. So it is not your money that you're entitled to. You have taken 5% from just about everybody in the state that you can get your hands on that money from, okay? But it is not a wealth transfer. It's not your money to begin with. And that's what's scary about some of our leaders in government. They believe the money is theirs, and they're benevolent because they're sharing it with you, okay? No. It's the people's money. You're taking too much of it. We've exploded spending in the state of New Mexico. There's more than enough money to pay for this, and you don't want to do it because you look at it and say, my state government cannot do without this money. The fact of the matter is, if you put that money back into the economy, it would grow the economy, not only helping people at the top of the scale, but it would help people at the bottom of the scale because it would bring their income level up as well. It's going to increase their opportunity. It's going to bring more people into the state. They're going to offer more jobs. But you don't view the tax code that way. You view it as a way to punish people. And if you do that, and if you do it a way to make things more fair, it's not fair. The rich people are going to be rich. I got news for you. Okay, but the people at the bottom of the income scale, they need more opportunity too. Yeah. And when you shut this thing down and you think you're sticking it to the guy at the top, you're actually killing the person at the bottom.
Right. And so I like this line too.
Yeah.
Aside from squeezing the state's lowest earners, dropping the personal income tax would blow a $2.2 billion hole in the state budget, forcing painful distortions across state programs.
Okay.
I'm not sure what painful distortions means.
I don't even know what that...
It doesn't blow a $2.2 billion hole in there. Like we've talked about this. The surplus from oil and gas is so incredibly...
Well, it's not only that. We have $75 billion in investments that generate $2 billion in return. So in other words, literally, we're investing money in, And that investment and the returns on that investment would cover the cost of this. So it's not going to blow any hole in anything. And by the way, not that she would be, legitimate about this, but spending in the state of New Mexico has increased year over year during Michelle Lujan Grisham's time of 8 years, roughly 7% a year. We're blowing out government. We have more money than we know what to do with. This isn't true. This is absolutely designed to trick people and make them think, you're going to lose your benefits.
Yeah.
You better look out.
Yeah.
That couldn't be more divorced.
It's the fear-mongering.
It's
is what
divorced
it feels like.
from reality.
Yeah.
It's taking reality and saying, don't pay attention to reality. Let me tell you, if you get a tax cut, the big government's not going to be able to help you and do what you need. That's garbage.
It's not true.
This is just garbage.
Okay, let's talk about Terafab. You know more about this than I do, so I'm going to let you lead this one.
So this is just a quick little thing. Elon Musk announced this past week that they're going to create a massive chip building facility north of Houston. Okay, this is a huge deal. It's called Terafab, right? And it's got 100 million square feet. Okay, this is crazy stuff. 4 massive buildings. Musk is going to put 16.8 billion into it. They think eventually they'll have about 120 billion in investment in there. We talk all the time about we get all our chips from Taiwan. Mm-hmm. This is an effort to say, okay, wait a minute.
We don't have to be reliant on
We've got to adjust to this. And it's just amazing to see what they're trying to do here. And what they're going to try to produce is basically high-end chips for AI, all different sorts of processors, things like that. It's going to mean a ton of investment in this country. Right. This is the sort of thing you have to have. This is a national security issue for us.
Right. I believe that too. And I just remember during COVID, all the things that we really couldn't get our hands on, slow car production, all the things that suddenly washers and dryers were hard to get. There was just all these things that we kind of take for granted that have always kind of just shown up and we've purchased them. Suddenly we couldn't get them because we're so reliant on China to develop all these. Now, I see this as a win, in my opinion, that this would be something that, again, kind of like the oil. Same thing goes with oil, is when we're less reliant on foreign countries to produce what we need, and it brings jobs here. I don't know how this isn't a win for Americans.
It absolutely is. And at the same time, and I should have put this in right behind it, but at the same time, Trump had a big event with a bunch of mining executives and people in the mining industry as far as education goes, like Colorado School of Mines. The president was there from the Colorado School of Mines, which is the best mining school in the country. Mm-hmm. Okay. They were all there late last week, talking about the fact that Trump has invested in mining, which presidents should have been doing for decades. But the environmental industry basically put a stop to that. Well, now it's called Welcome to Reality. We can't get all our mining goods and rare earth minerals from China. We can't. Okay. So guess what? Trump smartly opens up the mining industry. And you see that we have great mining institutions across this country. But the problem is we've started to fall behind, because we haven't done enough mining. You got to mine copper. You've got to mine all different sorts of things. And so this was interesting. It kind of links up with this, right? You've got to make chips here. You've got to mine things here. You got to produce things here. Not everything. We're not going to be able to produce everything here. We're not. But we do have a lot of jobs that are coming online, especially not only mining jobs, but those blue collar jobs. Mm-hmm. If you got a kid who's smart and wants to work hard, you're crazy not to recommend he become an electrician.
I know.
Or a plumber.
Right.
I mean, are you kidding? You're going to make...
Trade school, go to trade schools. You'll spend a quarter of the cost, if even that, of what you would spend.
They'll put you through.
Yeah.
You won't spend a dime.
Yeah.
They'll put you through and you'll make $100,000 before any of your friends.
Yeah. Easily.
Yes. And then if you decide you're entrepreneurial and you want to start the business and grow it, you will become a millionaire. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to, and we need so many of these people now. And this is why it's so crazy. And you're watching the political wind shift, because you see these people who've gone to school, they've run up a $200,000 bill and they have a degree that is worthless.
Right.
And then you've got other people who say, wait a minute. Yeah, I really didn't enjoy school. I barely got through high school, but I freaking love shop. Right. It was great. It's like, yes, you are the person who is going to make real money, and you should go after that. Your kid doesn't have to go to college, especially if you look at where all of this is and where it's going. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know how to tell Ella this, but we're not paying for Ella's college. We're going to have Ella go in and be a pipe fitter, which I think is going to be huge.
The only thing I would say is Ella is not like a builder or a hands-on
Not right now.
type learner.
Well, we get her on some rough-in plumbing jobs, and we can.
Okay.
I'm just telling you. I mean,
we're taking you to Angel Fire during this next build, okay?
Yeah.
And you're gonna take over.
Yes,
right? You'll
very
be
good.
You're a new plumber. Okay, something new coming to the great state of New Mexico.
Oh my gosh! So I knew we had I knew we had a
You're very
hockey
excited.
team on the way.
Yeah, you're very excited. Go ahead.
I can't help it.
I know you just totally interrupted me.
Sorry,
again.
I'm sorry, babe.
No,
go ahead.
No,
go
it's
ahead.
all you.
No, I feel bad. Go ahead.
No, it's you.
Okay, so the New Mexico has a double A hockey team coming in. It's part of the Colorado Avalanche system. Okay, but they're called the Goatheads. I'm sorry. This is the greatest mascot ever. If you live in the state of New Mexico, you know what a goathead is.
Yeah, but you don't like them.
No, you hate them, but it's hilarious.
They get stuck in your feet when you go running. They're in your shoe.
Absolutely. So, but just look at the way they're marketing this thing. Look at the goat head on the left.
Yeah.
That's a goat head right there. There it is. Now, again, you can get you got to have the goat and everything else and that stuff. The New Mexico, most people are going to be like, what is this? Is this kind of like some evil satanic thing? No, it's the goat head that gets stuck in your foot because it's effectively what amounts to a little. What is it? What would you call
it? Small and mighty? I mean, like little and mighty?
Yeah,
or
and
little and
they're
sharp
impossible to shake, and they're incredibly they're a burr. I mean, they're vicious little burr. You can't get rid of them. It's fantastic. But there's another shot of the goat head right there, and there it is right there. And then, of course, if you don't know what they are, let's just flip over one more shot, Ella, and then you can see. Yeah, that's the goat head.
Yeah, those just get. All I think of when I see those is either my running shoe.
Yes.
Or my dog's paw.
Yeah, Scout.
And I feel terrible
Scout
for her.
Maverick,
When I take her for a little walk, they give
get
her
a
the
little,
paw.
yeah.
But, okay, how are the Avalanche doing? I haven't even been paying attention to them
the
in a
Avalanche
long
are an
time.
excellent
They used to be
team.
really, really good.
They're incredibly good.
Okay, so this could actually be a lot of fun for us to go watch.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
It's up in Rio Rancho. Yeah, they're going to be really good. And so it would be the guys who play there, then they'd go up to their kind of AAA team, and then they go to the Avalanche.
Okay,
So
got
it's going to be really good hockey.
That's awesome. Now, all we need now is a football team.
Yeah, that's going to be tough.
Oh,
okay. It's going to be tough.
No, there's like a warm up.
Well, no, the Lobo football team though is better than they've been in decades. So they're really they were really good last year. I think they'll be good again this year.
I feel like the Cowboys need some help, and maybe we need to have like a junior Cowboy camp league.
All right.
And then we start them here.
Okay.
We toughen them up a little bit, and then they'll actually be able to win a game.
All right, let's go to Sunday.
This season. That
Let's
would
go
be
to
lovely.
Sunday. Let's cut her off.
Okay, that's
cut her
my
mic
plan.
off, Ella.
That's my plan. I'll call
let's
Jerry.
go to.
I'm going to give Jerry.
Please, thank you for cutting her mic off. It just got to be too much. So
all right, show us game day, guys.
All right, here we go. Sunday game day as we wrap things up. Here it is. We start with a buck. It's a good-looking buck right here. Look at this guy. Just looks fantastic.
Yeah, they're so pretty.
Oh, they're beautiful this time of year. Getting some of the fur off the old horns, and they're looking really good. Okay, then we got a lot of bears. Okay, so first the big fella comes in. So this is, I think, a big male is my guess. So I got a few different ones. Look at the size of this guy.
Jeez Louise.
I mean, he is
How much
huge.
do you weigh, you think? How much does this guy weigh?
400 maybe?
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, he's a big dude. And then it's also him too. He came by twice. So Ella, we got the next video. Be a little wider shot of him, I think. So then he comes through again. He kind of walked by the same camera a couple of different times. And here he is again. Is that not the same video?
No.
Oh, that's a different video? Oh, show it one more time. So yeah, I mean, just a big fella.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
okay,
no doubt.
Now show the scary one.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it, Else. Let's go to the next one. So what you see here, and we've shown you this family before. So there's mom. Okay. So she looks totally different in color. She got one cub there. Okay. She's coming right at you. Two more behind her.
Two
Watch more behind her.
This one comes booking it towards the camera.
No, this is the big mom comes right at the camera.
Well, here's mom first.
That's mom. That's it. So this is.
Oh my God.
Oh, just go back. I mean, so you can see a lot of times.
Is it 1 in 3 babies?
Yes. Exactly.
I didn't know they even have that many cubs.
Oh, yeah. You can she's healthy. She looks good. So that's the thing. You get that cinnamon color. A lot of times people think, oh my God, is that really a black bear? It is. It's a black bear. It just has kind of that lighter, has that blonde kind of look.
It's not a brown bear?
No. Brown bears are grizzly family. Like this is, this is the black bear. It really is. But
again, Ella's like, oh, look how cute they are. I'm like, no, Ella. No. They're cute from
she
afar.
is bringing it. I mean, she looks great though.
Yeah.
But you could see the male was all black, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I don't know.
Do we think they're all together?
No.
This
No. Mom and
5-pack?
dad, like, no.
Because they separate, right?
Yeah.
Don't they separate?
Yeah,
I remember
I
Ava
think
giving
it's-
us the whole bear breakdown last year.
Yeah,
on
I'm
Game
pretty
Day.
sure it's mom and the kids, and then dad's somewhere
Yeah,
else.
and then kids only hang out with mom for like 2 years, and then mom says,
Mom
"Go
kicks
find
them
your."
out.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too, you got to be really careful, especially with grizzly bears, is dad will show up and kill one of the cubs to put mom back into heat, which is not cool.
That's terrible.
It's awful.
Thanks for telling us that.
Sorry
awesome
about that,
news.
but it was just one of those things. I had it in my head. I had to share it.
Did you though?
Nah,
it's called
probably
a
not.
filter. It's called having a
I
filter.
probably should have
sir.
filtered that one out.
All right,
It was
I'm
a little
sorry.
strong.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for that. But thank you so much again for spending some time with us. Make sure you write those comments in. I try to read all of them when I can. I promise we try to respond as much as we can. But those are fun to keep our community going. If you would like to sign up for emails, please do so. That's when you can find out when we're having our shows. Like apparently Jay McCluskey's coming on Wednesday or Thursday. So we'll be dropping an email about that. You can sign up at nodoubtaboutitpodcast.com. And also, if you'd like to make a donation to keep our lights on, that's how we fund this whole thing, this whole operation. You can do that also on nodoubtaboutitpodcast.com. Thanks, you guys. And for those that are back to school, keep on keeping on. It's that time of year, I guess. So
Wrap it up.
okay. Now I'm the one that has to wrap it up. God bless you guys. We'll see you later this week.
You've been listening to the No Doubt About It podcast. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at No Doubt About It Podcast.
No doubt about it.
The No Doubt About It podcast is a Choose Adventure Media production. See you next time on No Doubt About It.
There is no doubt about it.